Hello and welcome to my second podcast show. A lot has happened since the last time I recorded a podcast. Survivor Series happened, Monday Night Raw, and Smackdown. And of course, Survivor Series had quite a bit happen. Of course, with the return of CM Punk, I gotta say, I'm still not convinced about this whole thing. I still think that this may prove problematic. But we'll see. I mean, it was just very strange watching it because, you had the men's War Games match, which was the main event of the night, and like after watching WWE for a while, you kind of understand the cues, the timing, and everything. And it was, I can't remember what time exactly it was, but it was like, I think it was maybe 6:45 p.m. or so. And the match was coming to a close. And I was like, all right, still got 15 minutes ish for something to happen, right? So, the match comes to a close. They do their celebration, whatnot. Randy Orton, of course, came back. And, in the bottom right corner, they put like the copyrights advisement prior to basically ending the show. So that came up, and I was like, huh, that's weird. It's a little bit early for that. So I was like, I guess they're done with the show. And then sure enough, boom, here comes CM Punk's music. And of course the crowd goes wild because it is Chicago. I'm not going to lie, I was not thrilled. I was not excited. I mean, we all know from my previous podcast, I'm not a big CM Punk fan. I'm also not a huge fan of his past and how he left the company and like everything he did after that. And just watching the press conference afterwards with Triple H, it was just also a little bit awkward because he was saying that like, oh, in 10 years if you don't change you did something wrong, and he obviously changed. I don't know if he did, because obviously he still had the same problems over at AEW. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. And it's like I said, if he returned at Survivor Series, it would be at the end. Nothing major would happen, would just be his entrance, and he would maybe cut a promo, which he didn't. He just came in and then the show cut off. Interestingly enough, there were a bunch of videos of Seth Rollins at the bottom by the ring, just going ballistic and just not having it. So a lot of people were like, I wonder if this is real or if this is for show, if this is to build up something. I think there's some real emotion behind that. I think Seth Rollins is a little upset about the whole thing. However, I'm pretty sure they were also working an angle there just because of previous interviews Seth Rollins gave where he obviously showed discontent with CM Punk. And I think those interviews are very authentic because this was like those interviews that were taken where CM Punk where Seth Rollins called CM Punk a cancer. This was like, was it, I think earlier this year or even last year? Like no one knew he was going to come back to WWE. No one knew that. So I think there's some truth to it. However, there also may have been an angle just to promote the comeback and to make the animosity just a little bit bigger. So it's just very interesting to me how this all folded out from the get-go. Um, so enough with CM Punk because he's gotten enough attention, I think. Let's move on to what I think was probably one of the best matches of the night for Survivor Series, Gunther versus The Miz. Now, in my previous podcast, I said that The Miz would dethrone Gunther and become a 9-time IC champion. Unfortunately, that did not happen. However, it just works. It just works the way it went. It further solidifies Gunther. It further boosts that title higher to where it needs to be. Because IC Championship and US Championship, they're considered mid-card, right? They don't have to be. Like, they can be solid main event top card championships. Just because you have a World Heavyweight Champion or just because you have a WWE Undisputed Champion doesn't mean those champions or championships couldn't be elevated a little bit higher. So I think with especially this match between Gunther and The Miz, that it did so, that it did elevate it quite a bit. I would like to see that title starting to become more main event worthy. I'd prefer seeing it in more main events because, like, let's look at it like this. How many times has Seth Rollins defended his World Heavyweight Championship on a televised show, like of course Raw, that wasn't a premium live event? He's done that. He's done that several times. And in the past, in this year alone, how many times has Gunther defended his IC title on Raw or Smackdown, something that was not a premium live event? I think it was less than Seth Rollins and his World Heavyweight Championship. So that just kind of goes to show that it's a big deal, in my opinion. If you have any other concerns or thoughts about that, go ahead and feel free and comment and let me know. I would really like to have that conversation. However, runny nose, boy, it's that time of the year, dude, where your nose just doesn't know what to do. And it just wants to drizzle. You know what I'm saying? It's not cool. So, now the question is, if not The Miz, who's going to dethrone Gunther? Will he ever be dethroned? Is it going to be a Roman Reigns-like reign where it's going to be over several years? Or is it going to come to an end soon? He's already been established as the longest reigning IC champion ever in history, right? So realistically, what's next? Like he already has that title. Like there's nothing more. The only thing he can do is further expand that. So I've seen some posts and rumors on Twitter or X where Gunther will be defending his championship at WrestleMania against Brock Lesnar. Now, I don't know any validity to that. I don't know where that came from. I just saw some posts, some pictures of predictions of what types of matches there could be, and that was one of them. Personally, like, would it be cool? Absolutely. And especially Brock Lesnar for the IC title. You know how much that would boost that title? With that being said, I also don't really understand that happening. I just don't see it. I don't see the the possibility. I don't see the angle. I don't know why Brock Lesnar would come back for that. So there are definitely a lot of questions. So, but we still got quite a bit of time until WrestleMania happens. So I'm sure something's gonna happen until then. And then for the rest of Survivor Series, I mean, the rest of Survivor Series went okay. I mean, it wasn't that amazing. The premium live event was, I'd give it a 7 out of 10. It was very entertaining. The highlights, of course. I think match of the night was definitely Miz versus Gunther. I think that was fantastic. But one of the biggest highlights, if not the biggest highlight for myself, was the return of Randy Orton. Now, one thing I do not appreciate that WWE did is they undermined, or yeah, I guess you can say undermined, but they kind of ruined Randy Orton's return by announcing that he would be the 5th member of the team the week prior on, was it Raw or SmackDown? I think it was on Raw. So fans already knew a week in advance, like it was official, that Randy Orton would return to be the 5th man. So I think WWE kind of did him a disservice there by announcing his return. I think the pop would have been way better if he would have just returned. However, I do like how they did his return. So the entire night, they're still kind of like, oh, is Randy coming? Is Randy coming? He's not here yet. So there was this whole mystery of like, is he even going to show up? They come out to the match. Randy Orton's still not there. Everyone has entered the match. Randy Orton still is not there. So, like, of course he was going to show, but it kind of upped, the anxiety for some people. You know what I'm saying? So that was a little cool to see. But when it was time for him to come out, I don't think anyone expected Rhea Ripley to be running down the aisle with the Money in the Bank briefcase. I think that was a huge surprise. And of course, right before cashing in, Randy Orton's music hits and the place goes wild. And like that was amazing. That was such a cool return, the way they did that. To be able to bring back the pop that was kind of lost. Like, of course, the pop would have been even bigger if they wouldn't have announced his return. But they kind of saved it. And it worked out amazing. I really enjoyed that. With that being said, I do think his return was undermined by CM Punk. Like, they win their match, and then, of course, CM Punk returns. It is what it is. Everything worked out fine. Everything worked out great, in my opinion. Even CM Punk's return, I was not incredibly happy about it, but it just all went pretty smooth. Now, the press conference afterwards was pretty short. And it was heavily focused, of course, on CM Punk and his return. So it was a little difficult to follow the press conference because literally almost every superstar was asked about CM Punk, and it was a little annoying. Which further, shows that it kind of undermined Randy Orton's return. I did enjoy, however, Triple H cracking the joke when he said, "Oh, we just had like one of the biggest returns ever." R-Truth, that was hilarious. Um, so yeah. So that's that with Survivor Series. Once again, I'd give it a 7 out of 10. Good premium live event. Not the best, but not the worst. Above average for sure. It still was pretty good. Crowd in Chicago, of course, so loud. I don't like, and a lot of performers also say that they don't think there's any louder arenas besides Chicago. I think that's the top for every performer, and during Survivor Series they showed it. Like, they were loud. So props to them. Good on Chicago. Now moving on to Monday Night Raw. Of course, CM Punk's return and his promo. That promo was, it was mid. It was like for being gone so long, that promo was not amazing. Like, it was very unlike him. It was like touchy feely. It just it kind of, it was corny. The whole "I'm home" quote, like, it, I don't know. I didn't buy it. But it wasn't it wasn't bad promo. It worked out fine. I think he bit himself in the foot by ending it by saying, "I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to make money." I kind of think that undermined his entire promo of him loving the audience and him being back and him being home, right? So that little quote at the end, I think that undermined his entire promo and kind of ruined it. Um, so yeah, and then of course Randy Orton's return, him opening up Raw, that was awesome. You can see the emotions in him. So I thought that was pretty great. That being said, I don't really remember too much about that Raw. Trying to go through the X feed, but I can't. I'm trying to remember what happened on Raw. It's been already a week, so yeah, and right now it's full of Smackdown because obviously that was the last show. Was there anything memorable that happened on Raw? I don't think so. At least nothing. Oh, I think yeah, Cody Rhodes came out and announced that he's going to be in the Royal Rumble, and then Shinsuke Nakamura comes and spits him in the face. So, I personally, I think Shinsuke Nakamura should be champion, or at least have been champion once this year. So because he's such a good performer and he's such a good heel. I I really would enjoy seeing a championship run from him because I think that would be amazing. I think that would be great. Um After his little stint with Seth Rollins where he lost, of course, he had a little mid-card showing for a little bit. So I think it's great that he's now going to start feuding with Cody Rhodes, obviously a main eventer. So I think that's exactly where Shinsuke Nakamura needs to be, in my opinion. So him being there and competing with the bigger superstars, I think that's exactly what Shinsuke Nakamura needs and where he needs to be. So I'm really excited to see this feud with Cody Rhodes. Even though it doesn't involve a championship, I think it's going to be very entertaining, and I just like his Japanese segments. Like, they are so good. So yeah, I'm pretty excited to see what happens there. Moving on to SmackDown. I'm gonna skip NXT because there's there's quite a bit happening over there, and I want to wait until their premium live event, which is this Saturday, I believe. So, can't remember what it's called. I want to say, oh, here it is, Deadline. So yeah, so this Saturday it's going to be NXT Deadline. Yeah, and it's interesting to see Baron Corbin on NXT because he was obviously on the main shows. But I think for his career, just like Dominic Mysterio, I think for their careers, helping out in NXT has been huge. But coming back to the main shows, so Friday night Smackdown, Logan Paul's return. I don't have much to say about that. They're going to do that tournament to determine who's going to be the number one contender. Kevin Owens was in it, but reports just came out that he is out injured. So that's going to be very interesting because, of course, so he was obviously going to be the top pick to be the number one contender for the U.S. title, which, once again, I think is great for the U.S. title to have someone like Kevin Owens competing for it. But now with his injury, so he's supposedly going to be out of the picture. However, I think they're working some type of angle to bring in a number one contender for Logan Paul, and Kevin Owens will somehow return and they'll make it a triple threat. And that would be fantastic. I don't see what would be better than that, than just a regular singles match. A triple threat. So let's see. Like Santos Escobar, he's getting a huge push, but I don't see him winning that little tournament. Maybe Bobby Lashley, but that doesn't make sense. Because Bobby Lashley kind of came out of nowhere in this whole thing. It's going to be hard to figure out now that Kevin Owens is not going to be in the tournament. It's going to be hard to figure out who. Austin Theory kind of fell off the favoritism train, if you could say so, which is very interesting. So it's going to be. I could see Grayson Waller being the number one contender and it becoming a triple threat match between Grayson Waller, Logan Paul, and Kevin Owens for the U.S. title at Royal Rumble. So that would be pretty cool to see, in my opinion. Who would win that match then, though? I kind of want to say Kevin Owens, but I have a strong feeling that Logan Paul is going to retain his championship at least once. I don't think they're going to let him lose it right away. So, so I think Logan Paul is going to retain no matter what. And then I did see some WrestleMania predictions that Logan Paul may defend the U.S. title against LA Knight. Now that I can totally see happening. The megastar versus Logan Paul. That sounds amazing. I can even see that being a main event of night one. So yeah, I think Logan Paul is going to retain whoever he's going to go up against. Unless, of course, LA Knight takes Kevin Owens' spot in the tournament. So it's gonna be interesting development. Nothing has come out yet about that, so we will see what happens here. Just real quick with the women's division. Friday night, you saw a little bit of Damage Control and I already forgot her name again. Kyra something. So I can't get behind her gimmick of being a pirate or whatever she's supposed to be, a Japanese pirate. I don't know. I think WWE should be giving a push to other females, like Bayley. I think Bayley should be getting a bigger push than she is, which I think is coming, because it clearly looks like Bayley is being outed by Damage Control. So I think her turning face again is going to give her that push to the main event stage again, where she may potentially challenge Io Sky for the women's championship. Oh, my nose, man. So then, and I think Asuka should be getting a bigger push as well. Yeah, like this Kyra chick, I just can't get behind her right now. Like her persona, her gimmick, it just doesn't work for me. It's a little outlandish, just too much. Like a lot of people thought Asuka was too much. I think Asuka portrays it in such a realistic way that it works. This new girl, it's just too much. I just don't see it working out. So it's gonna be very interesting to see. And then of course the end of the show, Randy Orton signing for SmackDown. Of course, obviously that's going to be opening up a huge storyline with the Bloodline again, since they were the ones that took him out. I mean, look at this specimen of a human being. It's off their X account. Look. He came back yoked. Like he looks like he's 20 pounds heavier just from muscle mass. I mean, dude's yoked. Dude is yoked. So seeing him back is obviously amazing. And signing for SmackDown obviously brings back the storyline with the Bloodline, so it's going to be very interesting to see how this happens. The way it's looking like is he's going to be taking them out one by one. I have a feeling he's going to have a Royal Rumble match against Solo Sikoa to, I don't know, I guess take him out. Unfortunately, I just don't see a premium live event match against Jimmy Uso. I think that's just going to be left for SmackDown, which is okay. So I mean, we'll see how this goes about. I don't see him challenging Roman Reigns for the championship, simply because I still think it's going to be Cody Rhodes that's going to take the championship away from Roman Reigns, unless they have a match for Randy and Randy ends up losing. Yeah, I mean that's the only thing that I can think of. I don't see Randy Orton taking it away from him simply because he just came back. So we'll see how this further develops. And then of course Randy Orton couldn't help himself. And right after taking out the Bloodline, RKO'd his new boss. Love it. So awesome. And you can see he's like, I'm sorry, I just had to. You silver platter, dude. Out of nowhere. I love his face. Look, he's like, oh, God, couldn't help myself. So funny. So just classic, or how Michael Cole would say, vintage Randy Orton. So it's going to be an exciting couple weeks, especially until Royal Rumble. So a lot of things happening, and that could happen, and a lot of mystery still. Because I mean, what's next for CM Punk? Like, he's back, but like, besides Seth Rollins, where there's a little bit of history and a little bit of somewhat of an angle, what else is there for him? So I'm curious to see what they're going to do to have him, like, have some matches to start out, and how it's gonna begin for him, his comeback, So gonna be very interesting. And then to close out episode 2 of my podcast, I'm going to go over my my list of top 5 for the year of 2023, and some honorable mentions. So I'm going to go in reverse order, and of course, if you have different opinions, if you share the same opinion, go ahead and leave a comment. Let me know what you think of my list here, and yeah, let's just get right into it. So at number 5, I have Seth Rollins, and he's in my top 5 because, one, he's obviously one of the top contenders, one of the top superstars in the business right now, and he was able to be the first inaugural World Heavyweight Champion. So I think that's a pretty big accomplishment. So that is why he's in my top 5 for the year of 2023. Moving on to number 4 is Rhea Ripley. I think that needs no explanation. She has such a her character, her persona is just so popular. Even though she's in a faction of heels, she's just so popular. And of course, becoming the women's world champion and being able to carry the new belt, which resembles the men's world heavyweight championship, is obviously huge for her. Personally, should she have more matches and should she be a little bit more involved in the ring? Yes, I do think so. However, it doesn't take away that she has had an amazing 2023. At number 3, I have Cody Rhodes. And Cody Rhodes is there because he has the ability to uplift any show or premium live event that he's on. He's must see. That's simple. He's must see, and he has to be on this list, of course. At number 2, so number 2 and number 1 were very, very difficult for me. When I get to number 1, I'm going to explain a little bit further why. But without further ado, number 2 is going to be LA Knight. And for the simple reason of that he's definitely the most improved talent in the entire roster. He's incredibly popular. He's had main event matches for the WWE title. I mean, what has he not done this year besides win a championship? So obviously he's going to be in my top 5, and he's going to be my number 2. And at number 1 is going to be Gunther. Now, the reason Gunther is my number 1 and not LA Knight is simply because Gunther is a champion. And not only is he a champion, but in this year he was able to become the longest reigning Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion ever. And also he was able to defend his title at any given moment. He's performed consistently throughout the year, whether it's at house shows, whether it's on live TV or premium live events. He's always been there. He's always performed. And his promos, Gunther's promos are so simple, but they're so good because they're so believable. So yeah, like I had to give number one to Gunther because, I mean, he owned 2023, in my opinion. Some honorable mentions, Shinsuke Nakamura, of course, coming back as a heel, bringing these Japanese promos, I think, so good. I hope 2024 will be a great year for him. Chad Gable. I think Chad Gable has risen quite a bit within WWE, especially when he was feuding with Gunther for the IC championship. I would have liked to see him keep that momentum even after that feud with Gunther. He kind of fell off a little bit, in my opinion. However, he still had a great year. Jey Uso, of course. Main event, Jey Uso. His run with his brother has been amazing. But I think his run as a singles performer has just been phenomenal. And I can see him being a champion of some sort in the near future. Kevin Owens, of course, had a great year. Was able to help dethrone the Bloodline, became undisputed tag team champion. And with that being said, also Sami Zayn is on my list of honorable mentions for the same reasons. However, Kevin Owens is slightly over Sami Zayn because it feels like Kevin Owens has a better storyline set up as a singles competitor versus Sami Zayn right now. Sami Zayn is kind of like he's kind of like the hype man for every bigger superstar, in my opinion, and like the helping hand, whereas Kevin Owens is his own superstar. He does his own thing. So that is why I think I have Kevin Owens slightly above Sami Zayn. So let me know what you think about my top 5 and my honorable mentions. Who should I have included? Who should I have left out? And of course, what do you guys think of this podcast? I'm still learning. I'm still trying to implement certain things, improving certain things, getting some better equipment here and there. In the meantime, however, I do appreciate all your guys' support and all the interaction I get. So of course, thank you for supporting my channel. If you like what you see, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I'm going to be coming out with a video on a weekly basis. My goal is 1 video a week. However, if I can do more than that, I will. Because in the world of wrestling and other sports, there's just so much to talk about. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys next time.